Some days you walk into a place and think you're just there to get the job done. Nothing more. No drama. No stories. Just in and out, right? But life loves to test that. Like that Monday morning at Fort Adwell, Georgia, where the air was so thick with humidity and tension you could almost slice it with a K-bar. It's the kind of day that's so typical, you barely notice the rhythm. Engines firing up in the motor pool, boots stomping through dew-soaked gravel, the smell of strong coffee, and JP-8 fuel battling for dominance. Yeah, you know what I mean. The usual military chaos, nobody in a good mood, everyone just getting by. Lena Trujillo, she's 52, built solid, dark hair streaked with gray, tight bun, old scars hidden under a faded green jacket, pulled up in her battered Ford Ranger like she'd done it 100 times before. You'd think after 8 years out, the army would have faded from her bones. But let me tell you, the way she moved, the way she scanned her exits, checked corners, you'd know that uniform never really leaves you. Her jacket, though, that was the thing. Frayed at the cuffs, sun-bleached and threadbare, carrying a ghost of a patch no one could really make out. If you knew what to look for, you'd see the kind of history that isn't written down anywhere. Most folks just saw an old soldier with nothing to prove. Turns out, that's exactly the type people like to test. Inside the supply depot, it was the usual scene. Young soldiers hunting for the right boots, specialists arguing about gloves, that kind of everyday theater. But Lena wasn't there to make a scene. She was there to pick up gear for a training event, volunteering to help out because, honestly, sitting at home made her skin crawl. All she wanted was a hydration pack, new boots, some gloves, tape. Nothing special. The private behind the counter was young, eyes too wide, all nerves and regulations, asking for paperwork and scanning it twice like he was afraid it might explode. But then, of course, came the lieutenants. 3 of them, shiny bars, fresh out of officer school, wearing that look like the army owed them something just for showing up. They started with whispers, just loud enough for Lena and anyone within earshot to catch every word, mocking her jacket, speculating about old war stories, fake medals, all that tired stuff. Goodwill Special, stolen valor, probably tells stories about secret ops in countries that don't exist. The kind of lazy jokes folks tell when they're too green to know better. Safe laughs, punching down, hoping no one will call them on it. Lena didn't bite. She just set her clipboard down, nodded when the private said the paperwork didn't clear, took a seat on a metal bench and waited. Didn't complain, didn't make a show, just sat there, steady, like she'd been waiting on army bureaucracy her whole life. One of the lieutenants even tossed another jab her way about wearing a proper uniform next time, not really expecting an answer, just staking out territory. You could feel the depot energy shift, civilians coming and going, officers getting louder, the background drone of base life humming on. Lena just sat, her jacket hanging open enough to reveal that old, worn patch. Most folks didn't notice. One contractor pushing a hand truck caught a glimpse, froze for a second, then disappeared into the back. Something about it spooked him, but the lieutenants kept rolling, building each other up, telling stories about posers and wannabes, drawing laughs from their little circle. If you've ever been in a room like that, you know how easy it is for bad habits to spread. But then, well, that's where the story takes a turn. Because just as the jokes were peaking, a man walked up behind them with a tray of coffee, moving quiet as a shadow. He wore OCPs that weren't parade ground pressed. They looked lived in, like he'd seen real dirt, real loss. Combat tattoos told stories the lieutenants couldn't even imagine, and the name tape said Ree, Brigadier General Malcolm Ree. The room fell silent. Not a peep. Even the laughter died. He didn't say a word to the young officers, didn't even acknowledge their existence. Just took a cup and walked straight over to Lena, who hadn't moved a muscle on that bench. General Ree stopped, cast a shadow over her shoulders, and in that voice that's more force than volume, said, "That patch on your shoulder, where do you serve?" He wasn't asking to quiz her. He was asking because he knew. And Lena, not even looking up, answered steady. Started with 519th Echo, finished on Crimson Ridge. That meant nothing to the lieutenants, but for General Ree, you could see it hit hard. The 519th Echo response wasn't in any book. No rosters, no public record, just whispers in dark hallways and half-erased after-action reports. Ree's jaw tightened. He stepped around to look her in the eye, and for a second, it was like no one else in the depot existed. Echo ran interference at Crimson Ridge, he said, voice gone low. Drew fire, gave us an opening. Saved 3 vehicles, 57 souls. The old scars on Lena's body, all those years washed out of the army, finally met the recognition that matters, the kind that's spoken between survivors, not written on plaques. Reed didn't waste time. He called the sergeant major out, ran down Lena's record with a precision and respect that shut the whole place down. Full respect, full cooperation, no questions. That's a direct order, he said. The lieutenants shrank into the floor. The private at the register suddenly found the override code, rushing to hand Lena her gear. New boots, hydration pack, everything she needed, no more red tape. Myers, the lead joker from earlier, stepped forward, eyes down, and apologized. Ma'am, I didn't realize. Lena, still steady, cut him off gentle but firm. You didn't ask. Sometimes the simplest truth lands hardest. Ree walked Lena to the exit himself, base life swirling back to normal behind them. The mood in that depot had changed. Word would spread before noon chow about the woman in the faded jacket who turned out to be the real thing, the ghost from units that didn't officially exist. Lena walked to her truck, boots thumping in the Georgia dust, gear slung over her shoulder, and for the first time in years, that old jacket felt like it belonged. General Ree caught up with her near the lot, the sun turning the asphalt into a shimmering mirror. No big speech, just a quiet invitation. We've got a training exercise next month, join ops. Could use someone who's been there. Lena shrugged. Might be good for the young ones to see how it's really done. Ree, just Ree now, not General, nodded. Might be. She said she'd think about it, and he walked away. 2 veterans connected by a history too deep for words. That's the thing about real service, real sacrifice. It doesn't need applause, it just needs respect. Lena got in her truck and drove off. No ceremony, just the quiet dignity of someone who did her job, paid her price, and moved on. You ever see someone endure disrespect with nothing but strength? Do you think those who served in the shadows deserve more than a footnote? Share your thoughts below. Hit subscribe if you want more stories about the kind of heroes who never ask for attention, but sure as hell deserve it. See you in the next one.